Perfect. All right. Well, today I am joined by the one and only Vivi May, who is set to return to Japan, I think, for the first
Yeah.
time since 2019. And so it's good to have you here, V.
Thank you. I'm really glad coming back to Japan.
Yeah. So I was looking at your record. I mean,
Mhm.
you've been in one championship for a long time. Time really flew by.
Yeah, it's like about 6 years, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like I saw that you signed with them in 2016.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's crazy. So what's it like coming back to Japan? I know that you fought in Japan for one championship,
Yeah.
but this is completely different. What's it like coming back and fighting for a Japanese promotion in Japan?
It's great. It's just great. And like after my fight was announced for Rizin, a lot of people says, "Wow, you're gonna fight in a big promotion. That's great." All my friends says that. And of course, one championship is what it is big too, right?
Mhm.
So it was kind of weird feeling, both promotion is big, but if when it's in Japan, everybody thinks Rising is much bigger. Like it's almost the same, but that's how media is giving the power to Rising. So yeah, I feel like I like to fight in any promotions, but I'm so glad now I'm able to fight in the biggest promotion in Japan, and everyone knows how big it is. So that's great.
Yeah, and like I think I counted. This is going to be the 10th MMA promotion you fought for in your career,
Really?
which is kind of like unheard of. Just like nowadays, people fight in like two or three promotions, but you're from kind of the old days where all these promotions popped up all the time.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Like starting from Smack Girl, going to like Finland and all the Asian countries. It's just exciting and a lot of memories, you know.
Did I read that when you fought in Finland, it was like a 3 hour drive from the airport?
Yes, 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 yes. It was long, long trip. It was countryside. It had nothing but it was a small town, but
Mhm.
everything was so cute, the Finland designs and stuff. So this is such a good trip. And I fought I forgot her name, but she became the
Katja, you
champion.
fought Katja.
Yes, 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 yes.
Mhm.
So she was such a good fighter, and big.
She went over to Invicta FC, didn't she? I think she went over there,
Yes,
did well over
she
there.
she became a champion for Invicta
Mhm.
and then stopped fighting. But no wonder she's such a good fighter.
Mhm. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
outside of that, I think you also fought in PXC a couple times, right?
Right, right, right.
Yeah, so I mean, what's it like having gotten started? Because when you first got started in MMA, it was kind of like the MMA boom in Japan was ending.
Mhm.
And then you like all these promotions were shutting down. And
Right.
then, I mean, Smack Girl shut down,
Right.
Jules shut down. So a lot of the Japanese fighters had to like go abroad to fight. And
Mhm.
now you're able to come back to Japan and probably fight on at least the biggest stage in Japan in your career. What's it like coming back and seeing how much the MMA scene has changed here?
It's it like 10 years ago, I think I couldn't imagine what's going on right now. And it's really just like a dream come true. And I don't think a lot of girls know that, you know, like there was a history of Smack Girl, and there was like the promotions with only few audiences, and but the fighters was giving 100%, even we only had a small crowd and stuff. But right now, all the all the promotions, um they they're all crowded, They get a lot of people give cheers, and everything is like they have everything, all the young fighters, and they have a lot of amateur fights too. So now they can have um a lot of amateur fight, learn a lot of good techniques, and then start professional, right? So they have everything. But
Yeah.
when I started, I there was a amateur fight for Smack Girl, but I never fought in that. And the debut fight, the first fight, I thought that was amateur for me. So I didn't know that was professional. So
Well,
it was those kind of,
that tournament had a crazy name. It was like the next Cinderella tournament or something. It had like a crazy
yes, yes,
name.
yes. Yeah. And I thought that was an amateur tournament. So I just wanted to show how I can do, like how I can move with my jujitsu techniques for
Mhm.
the MMA scenes. So I just wanted to show that. So I didn't think I was going to continue like this, but I think it was just by having career, like after I won the tournament, I think that's when I felt like MMA is uh like it's hard. There's so many things that you have to learn, but I felt that's interesting because it was not
Interesting.
easy. uh that's the reason I think I wanted to continue to fight. So that's yeah, I think that's the reason I'm still fighting.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was doing some research and I saw an old article. I think it was actually released by the karate system that you're associated with.
Hmm.
And it said at that time you were like working at a shoe company and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you would
yeah,
like work on Saturdays. Like the whole
yeah,
reason you worked for them was because there was no overtime. So you'd like
yeah.
work there on Saturdays and go
Mhm.
straight from there to the fights, to your own fight.
Yeah, because I had Saturday and Sunday off, but I didn't have to work. But some Saturdays I had to work, and that day was my fight day, and I was like, oh my god, I have to work, but it's until like noontime, so I have to work in the morning. But I couldn't, you know, I had to work. So everyone, when everyone was having a rest, relaxing, I had to work and then go straight to the Shinjuku face. And I think that day was like way in on the day of the fight, I think.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, that time I think yeah, so I weigh in and then just fight. So but that gave me power, I thought like, okay, everyone's relaxing, but I had to work, and I'm doing everything. So um I'm not gonna lose against those kind of people.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Was
that's yeah.
It's interesting because I do a podcast with Shu Hirata, and he's kind
Mm,
of talking about how some of the young fighters now they like have it too easy.
right, right.
And I'm like looking back at your career, and it's like you were working selling shoes, you were
Mm,
teaching karate, you were working as an English translator. Did I read that you translated for fighters?
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah, I mean,
used
it
to.
just seemed like you were hustling. It was just like you had all these side gigs, all this stuff, just to be able to allow you to pursue this MMA career.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't. I mean, like a lot of young fighters now, they're so lucky to have a lot of supporters. Even they don't have a lot of career, they have some sponsors, and they can train every day. They don't have to work, and but that's sometimes that's good, but sometimes like after you end your career for MMA, that's the time they will struggle probably. But so I don't know, but sometimes like me, I must um like relax and have work off someday, but I think I always take it positive and like meeting a lot of people with work and seeing people who is not the like fighters or around MMA, that gives me a lot of like new way of thinking and stuff. So there's a lot of idea around there. So I always take it positive and I enjoy it. So I like the way I live.
Mhm.
But yeah, like having a lot of sponsors and train every day when you can train, that's good too. So I don't know which is better, but
But
it's,
do you think the fact that you had to do all those different things like made you mentally tougher as a fighter?
I think so. Think so.
Interesting.
So yeah.
That's interesting. That's because the English translate. I mean, did I remember correctly? Weren't you? I remember saying a while back. Weren't you like teaching Tenshin Nasukawa English or something?
Yeah, I did.
Then did you
Yeah.
also travel with him to the U.S. as like in a translator capacity?
Yes. When he had camp for before fighting with Mayweather for
Hmm.
Rising, he had camp at どこだっけアメリカ
Was he training with like
Las
Freddie
Vegas.
Roach or somebody?
Las Vegas.
Okay, okay, in Las Vegas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I flew out there and helped translating, doing some camp there. It was interesting, and I'm so glad I have some scenes that I can help them with my English. You know.
That alone is kind of a crazy experience getting to go be a translator for arguably the best kickboxer in the world.
Right, right, and like traveling around with Tension and his father. It's I learned a lot of stuff from there and how they relax and how they give everything for the training and stuff, you know. And then I was at the at the fight as a team and I see how they use all the everything, how they put everything from the camp to the fighting against Mayweather, and
Yeah,
that must be scaring, you know.
yeah, I
And
can imagine.
yeah, and like seeing all the crowds,
Yeah,
that was
I can
crazy.
imagine. So I mean, but back to you. So you have a fight now scheduled. You're fighting Kanna Asakura, who
Mhm.
is a very popular in Japan, a very popular fighter in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, just her social media and YouTube, all that combined, she's actually probably her social media reach is probably the biggest of any
Mhm.
mixed martial artist, female mixed martial artist in Japan.
Mhm.
And so it's like your first fight in Rising is against like a giant opponent, a big name.
Mhm.
She won the first Rising Atomweight Championship.
Yeah.
So what's it like fighting her?
It's exciting, you know. I know she's good in ground um and looks pretty comfortable and on her feet. Um so but she's young and you know, but still she has a lot of career in rising. So I think I'm so lucky to fight with her as my debut in rising, you know. So I really thank the promoters giving me this big chance, you know. Um, and I'm pretty like like a lot of people. Of course, she's good, but there's better fight in Japan too.
Mhm,
But still, a lot of people thinks that she's the best.
mhm.
So I feel like it again the power of media in Japan,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
how they show. and that's how Ryzen is, the way they do, and very that's
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting thing too. So,
'Cause back
yeah.
when Rising had the fights on YouTube, her
Mhm.
fight with Saudi Ashima was like one of the most watched fights in
Yeah,
Rising's
yeah,
history. It had
yeah.
like 7 million views or some crazy
Mhm.
number. So,
Yeah, I was watching that fight and I saw all the comments,
mhm,
and they yeah, the match is really exciting. A lot of moves and nonstop fighting on the ground. So it's exciting, but I know, like, for grappling there's better fighter around,
yeah.
like in
Mhm,
America. So as seeing the techniques, of course they're good, but there's better.
mhm,
But again, a lot of fighter in Japan, or a lot of crowds, they believe they're the best in the world.
mhm.
So that's very
Yeah.
interesting, how they show that's rising. So
Yeah, it's got
pretty
very much
exciting.
got that like island mentality where they don't look
Right,
outside of Japan very much.
right. So they're using it very
Mhm.
positively, and so I'm really exciting to fight for rising, and I would love to show my technique, and I hope everyone enjoy it.
Yeah, so I mean, Rising's also kind of known for like their big production value.
Hmm.
And you've had some fun entrances in the past. I remember you came out as Iron Man one time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think you've had some. Should we expect something fun for the Rising debut, or
Oh, I always think about new stuff,
Mhm.
and I hope, I love if crowd enjoys it, but like reading the comments, everyone says now I can see May coming out with karate gi, with Iron
Yeah.
Man. So
Mhm.
okay, I was like, okay, if everyone's um looking for that, I can do it.
Too much
But
pressure. You got too much pressure now.
yeah, but I'm glad everyone's like that.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, so
And
I was thinking about doing some new stuff, but if everyone loves to see my karategi and Iron Man entrance song, that's
I
I can do that.
I
Yeah.
say you do. I say you do something new. I say because everything you've done so far has been fun. I say you keep it going and shows people
Yeah.
something new. They've already seen the Iron Man.
Oh, you would like to see with the new song?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, if you want to do Iron Man, you can. But I think every time you've done something cool, so I say you keep the streak going and release
Okay.
something new.
Mm-mm-mm.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm also excited for your Rising debut because you'll be coming back down to 49 kilo.
Hmm.
And when you were fighting at like 48 and 49 kilo in Japan, you looked almost unstoppable. And like the one championship seemed like maybe they were a little bigger because I think they changed the weight classes after you joined with one championship, correct?
um, I think they haven't changed the weight class, but what it's the fighter, they get better and better to weigh in without cutting water
Right.
weight, but still cutting water weight.
Yeah, cool. Because I think I saw an article where they're
Mhm.
just talking about how to cut water without cutting water.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
So they're getting better in technique,
mhm,
giving the perfect pee
right.
with
Mhm,
cutting water. So it's almost like featherweight now. You
yeah.
know.
Well, because I mean, in one championship, I believe atom weight, because I just saw the weigh-ins because Itsuki just weighed in with Ham. And I think they
Mhm.
each weighed in at like 114 and a half pounds,
Mhm.
which I mean, traditional atom weight is like 105. So that's almost 10 pounds
Right,
over
right.
that. So, and plus, I mean, Angela Lee looked like a giant against you. So I think a lot of us are
Mhm.
excited to see you back down at 48 and 49 kilo. And
Mhm.
are you excited to be back down in that weight class? Do you think it'll make a big difference or?
I think so. I'm trying to cut weight a little earlier
Mhm.
and not too much water weight. So I feel really good right now. I can move, and it's really nice. I
Mm,
think I look better in skinny is going on.
mhm, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
then let me see. I think this fight's at Yoyogi, right?
Yeah, yes.
So I mean, you're gonna be fighting just a couple blocks away from Meiji Shrine and Harajuku Street. So I mean,
Right.
couldn't ask for a better welcome back to Japan. You're fighting in the heart of Tokyo.
Right, right. And it's really nice to say that I fight in Yoyogi Stadium to all my
Mhm.
friends, they don't have to go all the way to Saitama.
Right. I was thinking the
Yeah.
same thing. And plus, I saw a
Mm.
funny story. I saw that you in an interview, you were fought for, I think it was your fight with Yuka Tsuji, the second fight. You said you invited one of your friends to come, and their comment was, "I don't want to see you lose." So I think I'm not going to go. So
Right.
hopefully, because I was reading an interesting article about that fight. I think it was in Number. I believe that's the name of the magazine.
Oh, maybe.
It was an older article. It was back from the date of that Yuka Tsuji fight, and
Really?
he said
Mm,
that that fight was one of the most important fights in Japanese women's history. Because before that fight, the mindset in Japan was
mm,
Megumi Fuji and Yuka Tsuji are the best and
mm.
they cannot lose. And that
Right.
if you came along, and I think you beat Yuka Tsuji in just over a minute, you choked her out with a rear naked choke, first round. It was like a very dramatic finish. And you
Mhm,
just completely destroyed the idea that any fighter is unbeatable, that these
mhm,
people are going to be the top of it. And I think you kind of highlighted the fact that you were part of this new generation of young fighters that were hungry for the top. And
mm.
I remember when that fight happened. That fight was huge. Can you talk about what it was like winning that fight? Because people may not realize today, but Yuka Tsuji was a huge star back then. Yuka Tsuji, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. She was like cannot never defeated. Like what's her nickname?
Oh,
What but it was like never defeated. 絶対王者 or those
she
kind
had
of.
lost once, but she beat the person that beat her. And I
And it
think
was not
it was
Japanese.
a non-Japanese fighter. It's like Michelle Tavares.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, in
So,
English, her nickname was the Valley Tudo Queen, but she might have had a different
mhm.
Japanese nickname.
Yeah, so yeah, the thing that gave me power is, yeah, one of my friends says, I don't want to see your fight because I don't want to see you losing.
Yeah,
So
I remember. Yeah,
so so he didn't come to my fight. So I was so angry, and I just did it. I That gave me power. That the anger,
yeah.
anger. That was the only thing I used for that fight. And
Because for those that don't know, that was actually a rematch
yes,
because it's Japan. You won that new Cinderella tournament, and so they
mm,
immediately threw you against like the best fighters in Japan, despite the fact you had just made your pro debut. And so I think
right.
people thought based off that first performance, oh, she doesn't have a chance. Yuka Tsuji will
Mhm.
smash her again.
Yeah, yeah. So like 99% thought I'm gonna lose,
Mhm,
and yeah. So the second fight, I won in about like 60 seconds or something,
mhm.
and I couldn't believe it. I was so happy, but the crowd was silent. They became silent because they were like, "What?" Like, oh my god, it is. Can this happen? Like those kind of silence.
Oh yeah,
So it was
just like
not. It's
shocked.
not. Yeah, they were all shocked, and they're not like, yeah. They're like,
This article, this number article, the guy actually said he looked around and people were crying. Like
really?
people had tears in their eyes in the crowd, like they couldn't believe what had happened.
Right, right, right.
He
Yeah,
said, I think he said he thought some of the fighters were crying out of jealousy that you were the one that beat Yuka Tsuji while the others were crying because they realized like the entire MMA world had changed.
Really?
Yeah.
I
It was a
didn't
crazy
know.
article. I can send it to you later.
Oh, thank you. But one of the media guy was taking picture of me.
Mhm.
He started to cry when I won. So it's like he has camera and crying, and from the other angle in front of him, they were taking picture too, right? So it was caged, so there was a lot of people from
Mhm.
various angle, and there was like other media in front of him taking picture, but he took a good picture of me, but because the other media guy crying, he was angry because I can't use this picture. Why are you crying? Um,
Oh wow.
I heard those kind of stories,
Okay, so
but
I'm glad we're because that's so people don't know that was in Valkyrie. So after Smack Girl failed, kind of like two promotions arose, and it was
yeah,
Jules and Valkyrie. And
yes.
Valkyrie was kind of cool because I think it was the first Japanese promotion to let women fight with the same rules as the men.
Probably
Because I
yes.
think Jules still had that like crazy no ground and pound to the face.
Yes, some rules had no ground and pounds and like only 30-second ground rules.
Hmm.
So even if it was not 30-second, they pretty break call for a break
Hmm.
on the grounds pretty early because they didn't want to see like stopping trying to do small things on the
Yeah.
ground because yeah, so they didn't want that, so we had to stand up, and that's smack girl. But Valkyrie was more like more aggressive
Yeah. I think it was
fighting.
the same rules as Cage Force because they were kind of like
Yeah,
a sister promotion.
yes, yes, yes.
So, what was it like fighting back then? Because back then, I think you were training at like Max's Jiu Jitsu Academy.
Mhm,
So you're kind of like a Jiu Jitsu based fighter. I mean, you had your karate background too, but what was
mhm.
it like being a Jiu Jitsu based fighter, but knowing you only had 30 seconds to get something going on the ground?
Well, yeah, but I didn't think a lot about that 30-second rule because I wanted to show more karate,
Mhm.
and I like to do a lot of tricky things. So I kind of enjoyed that. Um,
Well, because
yeah,
you had that flashy knee bar against Saudi Ishioka, I think, in Smack Girl, right?
yeah. That was from like Domashi Kaitengeri.
Mhm.
I wanted to do that so bad. I was yeah, I was doing that in my training camp and doing it over and over again, and I really liked that. So I really wanted to show it, but it didn't hit Saudi's head,
Mhm.
and I just landed around her feet. So I just got her knee bar.
Yeah, it worked. It worked. That's also what's kind of crazy is you look back at your early career and you're fighting other young fighters, but all of those young fighters became famous fighters later on. It's like in that Cinderella tournament, I think you fought Saudi Ishioka,
Hmm.
Emi Tomimatsu,
Yeah.
and maybe someone else who retired. I think a young AACC fighter. But it was kind
Hmm.
of what was it? Is do you feel like you kind of grew up with those fighters because they all kind of stuck around too?
Yeah. Like Emi Tomimatsu, she's my training partner right now, and we're good friends. So like around those ages, we're all good friends,
Mhm.
and like Hisai-san,
Mhm.
yeah, she trains together too, and she has really good technique on her feet. So I really love that, and
I'm glad you brought this up because I've always felt like with the women's scene in Japan, there's always been like two camps. There's like all the women that train at AACC,
Mhm.
and then there's kind of like the Vivi May, Emi Fujino, Emi Tomimatsu Tokyo crew. And it feels like you're kind of like two separate teams almost. Like I know
Oh,
that you and Fujino and Clemente like train at different gyms, but it felt like you all worked together and the AACC fighters worked together.
oh yeah, yeah, that kind of, yeah, that makes sense. But there like because I fight for Rising now, I don't train at AACC, but I used to go several times.
Oh,
And
really? I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah, I've been there before. And Emi Fujino is really good with friend with Hamasaki-san.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's not like rivals, but um we just all the like in we like at Master Japan, we just gather up on the Sunday morning.
Yeah. Mhm.
So a lot of people just want to take a rest on Sunday. So
So like that Master Japan crew, is that like you, Mina Kurobe, Emi Fujino? Is it Machi? Is Machi there as well?
yeah, she comes. And Emi Tomimatsu, Hisae-san.
Interesting. Because I remember back when it was just like Hiroko Yamanaka training there. So that's kind of cool that they've had
Oh
this
yeah,
whole
yeah.
different gym going now. It's cool.
Yeah. So we spar in the Sunday mornings. So some people doesn't want to train on Sundays. So
I also kind of felt like one of the reasons you might have trained with them was because you'd already fought them so many times that there
that's
was
true.
like such a small chance that you would ever fight them again. Because it's like you fought Emi Fujino twice, you fought them all so many times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's one of the reason I think. We know each other so well. And like I spar with Amy Fujino more than maybe 10 years
Mhm,
now.
mhm.
So, and I know she has some like everyone has injury somewhere and you
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
take care where you're getting old. So um like we care each other.
Mhm.
We do go aggressive, but we try not to make them injured.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I think that's the reason we gather up and spar.
So now that you're back in Japan, are we going to see you like compete in a girls' S Cup or shoot boxing or anything like that soon? Or are you exclusive to Ryzen?
Oh, I think I'm too old for kickboxing and shoot boxing because like for being a DJ for Rise, I
Mhm.
always see the women's fight too.
Well, all
Girls
their
fight.
kickboxers are like 18 years old. All their
Yes,
kickboxers are super young.
yes, they're super young and like their technique is so much different from the old time. So like when I fought in shootboxing, there of course there's good kickboxer, but um still I think it was the level that MMA people can join and struggle
Mhm.
and sometimes have chance to win. But if it but right now I don't know, it's too hard.
Yeah.
Their
Mhm.
technique is way better now. So
Oh, yeah. It's definitely improved at a pretty crazy rate,
mhm.
especially now that I think Rise teamed up with Glory, right? So they're kind of exchanging fighters from all around the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How did
It's
you
great.
get that? How did you start commenting, doing the ring announcing for them?
Um, this is interesting story. So Rise was looking for some people who can do the English
Mhm.
call outs, and they used some announcers, but they didn't know how it's kickboxing event is like. So they I think it was too formal, kind of.
Mhm.
I'm guessing, and they didn't shout. You know,
Oh, they're
they
kind of boring,
yeah, kind of
a
not
little dry.
yeah, kind of. So they didn't um they didn't want them, and they were looking for some other people. So uh father of tension,
Mhm.
Nasukawa-san, comes to me and, Mei-chan, you can speak English, right? And, ah, I found someone. It's
Ah.
like, what?
Oh, because you have the
I found someone. And that's
'cause
how it started.
before that, weren't you doing some commentary work in English as well?
Um, no, like sometimes I did for Quintet.
That's what it was. I thought
Yes.
I heard you with like Stuart Fulton or somebody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when they didn't have any people who can speak English and who knows grappling or kickboxing, I went there. So I did several times for Pancrase
Mhm,
and for Quintet. So not for other event, I think.
mhm.
Yeah. So
So
uh
far we have MMA fighter,
mhm,
commentator, ring announcer,
yeah.
English translator, English teacher, karate instructor,
So
shoe
busy.
saleswoman. Seems like you've had a lot of jobs and a lot of gigs you've held down.
Yeah, and I'm helping the translator for Rise on this Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have,
Is that the El Dorado show?
yes, yes,
Hmm,
yes. Colorado. So weigh-ins, I think. Yeah.
very nice, very nice. All right, so I was looking over your record. Some things stuck out to me.
Mhm.
So you fought in Pancrase's first women's main event.
Yes.
You fought in One Championship's first women's title fight. You fought in the first girls S Cup finals. What's it like having like all these firsts on your record? Like, is it kind of hard to believe when you look back on it?
um yeah, if I look back, it's very honored thing. It's very honored thing, but I never thought about those stuff. So uh, I knew I was first woman for the main bid for Pancreas because
Mhm.
I was fighting with Windy Tomomi,
Yes,
and
another
she,
very dangerous striker.
yes, yes, I was so scared. And she was from the Pancreas gym. So um yeah, it was really good fight, and I won that one. But like when I got the first like poster
Mhm.
and look at the fight, the row,
Yeah,
and my name was on the top because it was a main event.
right.
But I thought, okay, this time they're writing the first fight on the top, and it goes to
Okay.
them.
You thought they switched it?
Yes. Okay. So this time they're doing those kind of stuff. Okay. Okay.
So
So yeah.
what's it like? Because I mean, you bring up a good point. Like Wendy was a Pancrase fighter, so Pancrase was probably kind of hoping that you'd come in and lose to her, and they could crown her a
Yeah.
champion or something. What's it like fighting like when you're like the away team going to someone else's home? Kind of like when you were in Finland, or kind of like when you fought Angela Lee.
Mhm. Um, I think it's like it's my character kind of thing, but I don't really think about those kind of stuff. So
Oh yeah,
I think that became good, like good performance, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Speaking of which, I was kind of curious, which of your fights in MMA or outside of MMA kind of sticks out to you the most as like one that you're particularly proud of, or one that sticks out as a good memory to you?
Um, for MMA, the fight against Angela Lee was good too, but uh, that's for a foreign country.
Hmm.
And in Japan, I think it's against Megumi Fuji.
Yeah, the Valley Tudo Japan too.
Yes, I think that was the most exciting one. And for shoot boxing, um, eh, the one I did the suplex.
Madoka Janai.
No, the next one.
Was that her name? I thought it was Madoka Janai. Did like the two German suplexes.
Yeah, that's the very first one, and that was good too. But the one against semifinal
I'll look it up real quick.
against
Let's see.
ね、
Give me 1 second. I'll have it.
forgot the name. なんだっけな。
Oh, I'm sorry. Not Janai. It was Madoka Okada.
Oh yeah, Madoka Okada. That was first one, and
No, the first one I think was against a Korean girl.
mm, um,
The first one was
the,
against So Jung Lim. And then in the semifinals, you fought Madoka Okada. And then you fought Rena Kabuta.
um, yeah, the other tournament I was talking about.
Oh, from 2010?
That was the first tournament, right?
Right.
There, the when Erika Kamimura was in the tournament.
Oh, that was a great tournament. That was a tournament. Okay. Oh, when you fought Lorena Collision?
Lorena, so
That
yes,
girl looked like she was made of bricks. That girl looked like solid muscle.
yeah. I think that one's the best.
I was nervous before that fight. I'm like, oh, she's gonna hurt me. She's a giant.
I know, like so after I won the first round,
Mhm.
I had to look for I wanted to watch Loren's fight.
Okay.
So I was looking for from like I was looking like this, okay, I'm gonna fight for her. And I thought no, I thought Erika is gonna win that fight.
Right.
Yes. So I was sure she was gonna win, and I had to fight with Erika. And that time, Erika knocked out everyone.
Erica was a monster. She was
Yes,
one of my favorite kickboxers of all time.
yes. So I was so scared, and yeah, I didn't want to fight her. So, but I had to see how it's gonna be. So I was watching the fight, and she lost. So
Yeah, because Lorena was like able to like out grapple her for most of the fight.
yes, so Lorena was like crazy, crazy fighter.
Yeah, for
And
those that don't, to put an image in people's heads, she was just an incredibly muscular,
yeah,
like European.
monster.
I think she was Dutch, and she had like a shaved head and just
Mhm,
looked crazy.
mhm. It was so crazy. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I really thought I'm gonna die.
crazy.
So that fear gave me power, because I have to so concentrate
Mhm.
and like protect myself. So I was so scared. I thought I'm gonna die. And because I was so scared, I had to step forward, to protect myself. So I gave everything with that. And that was the first uh that was the first time when I saw the star.
Really?
Like, yeah, even I was like defending myself. Lorena gave a big hook on and over my hand, my arm. But I saw the star, and I was like, oh my God. It's
Was that
crazy.
because for those that don't know, I mean, you've never been finished in your career. Was that
Mm.
like the most damage you've ever taken in a fight?
Yeah, for shoe boxing.
Mhm.
Shoe boxing. So
Interesting.
scared.
I was so close. I wrote down what I thought your three fights would be, and I put Megumi Fuji at number one,
Hmm.
Angela Lee at number two, and I put Madoka at number three. That's
Oh,
why I was
that's
all
close.
excited. Close. That
Yeah.
Megumi Fuji fight
Mm.
was nuts. I just remember it so vividly because Vale Tudo Japan was back, and that was still during a time period. I think Jules was still doing restricted rules, where
Hmm.
if you were like a Megumi Fuji type or like yourself, they would always say like a special rules match, like
Hmm.
ground and pound allowed. But
Hmm.
Valley to Japan was like, we're gonna have all rules, like elbows, everything's legit, everything's a go. The only thing that upset me about that fight was that it was 2 rounds. I wanted to
Yeah.
see that third round so badly.
Yes. That's because that they were looking for the opponent for Megumi,
Mhm.
but they couldn't find. And in the last moment, they offered me a fight. So I only had like 2 weeks.
Really?
Yes. So only a week to prepare, 1 week to make weight, cut weight, and it was fight. So I had no, like, I couldn't fight 3 rounds.
I did
So
not know that was a last minute fight.
yes, it was last minute. So
That
I
makes it even
said,
crazier now because that fight was absolutely nuts. You guys went at it like I think as soon as the fight started, you guys just started punching each other.
yeah,
It
yeah.
kind of reminded me a little bit of like the Don Fry Takayama fight. And then there's like a moment I think where she has like an armbar attempt on you, and you just
Mhm.
picked her up and slammed her on her head and started punching her in the face. I was like, this fight's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, like of course I think she has some points for like taking me down or
Mhm.
other parts, but that arm bar wasn't um I don't think it was even a catch, but the judge took it a catch and that's a point. So I think that that became a part of like the
Oh, the scoring.
deduction. And
Well, that fight
yeah,
was weird because she went for a lot of submissions, but I didn't think any of them were close to like actually damaging you or anything.
yeah, yeah.
You
So
seemed
I
pretty
thought,
safe for for all of the fight.
mhm,
If
yeah,
anything, it looked like as the fight went on, this is what's blowing my mind about you saying it's last minute. It looked like as the fight went on, she was getting more tired than you were.
it looked like, yeah. Yeah, she was so tired.
It's crazy. Because the reason that armbar slam sticks out to me so much is I remember I saw a fight of yours. I think it was in Shinjuku Face, and I think
Mhm.
it might have been against Mika Nagano, but I might be wrong. And I think she was going for an armbar, and you stood up, but you weren't allowed to slam her, and so you were
Yeah.
just kind of stuck standing there in the middle of the ring with her hanging on your arm. But there's like nothing you could do to like get her off of you. So you were just like hanging out there with this lady hanging off your arm.
I I think I kind of walked from there, just bring her up, and maybe I walked to my corner or something.
You did. I remember you walked because
Yeah,
I remember you walked to your corner. That was also a
yeah, because
crazy fight.
I couldn't ground and pounds or I couldn't kick her. So okay, maybe I'll just walk.
Because I remember being like, oh yeah, there's like nothing she can do. She can't ground and pound her. She
Yeah,
can't slam her.
yeah.
She's just kind of stuck with her hanging off her arm. But if I remember correctly, that fight ended. I think you kind of unloaded a crazy combo on her. You just like
Oh,
went crazy with strikes at the end of the fight. Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
it all blurs together. I mean, you have what close to 40 fights. It's all sticking together. It's all blurring together in my mind.
Hmm. It's very interesting looking back in the old days
Yeah,
when the technique, like right now, the technique is so improved, but the old time they had and that those kind of just picking up and walking stuff, and
yeah, yeah.
that's it's fun to watch.
It was
So
very fan friendly. Very fan friendly.
yeah, so like it kind of try to like remember those kind of feelings
Yeah.
and that day, how I try to entertain. And like right now, I, of course, people go for the like very high level techniques,
Mhm.
but like Takayama Don Furai fight is the most exciting thing,
Yes.
but they just punched, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I really try to remember that feelings.
Yeah, I feel like I know you never pro wrestle, but it feels like you almost have like a pro wrestling background because even your press conferences, I swear I've seen you like make up characters. There was like a time period where you pretended like you were born somewhere else. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I think I remember a press conference where you acted like you couldn't speak Japanese that well. And I think you spoke English.
Maybe.
So like
Yeah.
where's this inspiration come from? What's all these like fun characters that you're doing?
I just wanted to enjoy,
Yeah.
and like I see a lot of like serious press conference, but it's a fight and you have to enjoy, and people have to have fun in press conference too, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's, yeah. Well, because maybe like I really like Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I really want to make people entertain, like entertain my fight looking like the movies, you know.
Yeah, because he's the reason you got into martial arts, right? Jackie Chan
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
Was there like a favorite Jackie Chan movie of yours when you were a kid?
Um, I don't. There's too many,
Hmm.
too
Hmm.
many.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I like the Jackie Chan movie in old time, but also when he went to Hollywood.
Okay. Yeah. Like the Rush Hour.
Yeah, right, right.
So like,
That I really like that too.
so I was like, when you watched those, did you watch them in English or Japanese?
English.
Oh, interesting. Nice.
Yeah.
And I just another thing I saw in an article of yours that I couldn't believe was that when you were taking karate in the U.S., did I read that you were learning from a guy that played a Cobra Kai member in the Karate Kid movie?
Yeah, he was a bad guy, my instructor.
So we're adding up the crazy stuff you've done. You first off, there's that whole new TV. Have you seen the TV show on Netflix?
No, no.
All those Cobra Kai guys came back. They have their own TV show on
Oh
Netflix now.
yeah, yeah. I think I saw that one.
You got to watch, see if your old instructor's on there.
Maybe.
That's crazy to me because you learn from one of the guys from the Cobra Kai. That's just
Yeah, so
absolutely nuts.
we had black gi.
Mhm. Oh, really? Did you have the cut off sleeves?
No, I wasn't sure.
Just had to double check. Just had to double check.
Yeah.
Right. So let me see. And I think I've taken up a lot of your time, but I think my last question will be:
Hmm.
you made some like self-defense videos after the Yuka Tsuja video
Hmm.
for with like AKB40 with a member from AKB48. And I think it's one
Yes.
for NHK at the time.
Hmm.
For
Hmm.
those who don't know, NHK is like the national broadcasting service in Japan.
Hmm.
What was that like? That had to be like a crazy opportunity for you.
Yeah, I was so surprised you were able to find that
Yeah.
video
For
because
some reason, I was never able to forget them because
uh,
the dance at the end, where you like go through the teaching the technique to the music, it just like
yeah.
has like a spot in my head for some reason.
That was kind of cute.
So,
Um,
what was it like making those?
well, it was fun, and I think that was like my first opportunity doing
Mhm.
those kind of stuff. So I was so young and wasn't used to do this stuff. So, but it was fun,
Because
and
I think actually, was that because was that because of the Yuka Tsuji win? Because I think even in the opening part, they show you submitting her as like part of your introduction.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I don't know, but like in those days when I'm guessing that like when people wants to make those kind of video and go for the internet and look for some people
Hmm.
who does self-defense stuff, I think there was only few women,
Hmm.
so on social media. So that's the reason why they reached me, because the jujitsu
Hmm.
gym I went in the past, they did a lot of self-defense technique. So
Okay,
yeah, I think that's one of the reason.
interesting. I just had to know. That was more of a personal question because those videos are like legendary on the for the Japanese MMA fans.
Yeah,
I
and
guess.
the the girl, the
Hmm.
Shizuka Oya,
Hmm.
she's the I saw her on TV yesterday too. So
Oh,
she's,
really?
yeah, she's like top idol in Japan. And I remember when we had lunch, um there's no camera going on, but she was like, was she, wait, she's like, oh yeah, I remember she said, she says herself Shi-chan.
Yeah.
She
Hmm.
she says to her manager, I can hear her saying, Shi-chan hamburger. She's having a
She
hamburger.
refers to herself by her own name.
Yeah, so she's kind of cute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even the camera is not on. It's
Hmm.
like, Shicha hamburger, I'm having a hamburger lunch. And I hear her saying that, and she's so cute. She's idle 24 hours. And
That's a good
then,
memory.
yeah, so like, that's I thought, okay, I should say that too. And I saw my lunch, but my lunch was shiosaba.
Hmm.
Shiosaba bento. It's not cute at all. It's a fish.
Yeah, it's a fish, right?
So to being an idol, we have to choose
Yeah.
hamburger bento, not shiosaba, not a fish hamburger. It's not
I feel
cute
like
at all.
I feel like I
So
learned something today. If I want to become an idol, I got to get the Hamburg bento.
yes, yes, to
I'll
being
remember
an
that.
idol 24 hours. Yeah.
All right, so I guess I'm going to close with what can we expect to see in your next fight, and what are your goals now that you're back in Japan?
Um. Yes, the next fight is gonna be another non-stop fight
Mhm.
against a really good wrestler, grappler. So we cannot miss, and I will choke her out in the
Oh,
last.
really?
Yeah, I will.
And after
And
you choke her out, what are your goals for the rest of the year and moving forward?
well, I really would love to become a title challenger,
Mhm.
get another belt in Japan.
Yeah, add another. I think what have you've been the Valkyrie champion, you were the Deep Jewels champion,
Yeah. So
add the
it's
Rising championship to that.
right, right.
Ah, perfect.
Hopefully.
Well, I think I speak for everybody when I say we're looking forward to seeing you fight back in the Rising ring. And thanks. Oh, actually, you'll be in the cage. You'll be in the Rising cage.
Yeah.
And oh, last question: do you prefer the ring or the cage?
I think cage is fun,
Hmm.
more fun. Yeah. But I can go both.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay, yeah, just
Yeah.
curious. But yeah, so I think I speak for everyone. So thanks for taking the time to speak to us. It was kind
Mm.
of fun to go back down memory lane and look
Thank
back at the
you.
old school MMA days, back
Thank
when
you
Smack Girl
too.
was still around. And we all look forward to your next fight.
Thank you.